Started then. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome back. Hope everyone's well. Just to start off, Gerard, I'm afraid, can't make it today. He's just a bit, well, snowed under. We've got a few new starters and things and stuff like that. And he got a new starter starting today who he needs to look after. So he's just asked if I could just look after this call. In terms of what we're going to talk about, I don't think it's going to be a long call. So I got a message coming in already saying, can we leave it? I need to leave in a bit, but yeah, don't worry about that. I think we're just looking for a quick little update really from what we've been doing. And then if possible, just I'll have a quick chat about where we sort of left off in the last meeting, expanding on getting these qualifications rolled out to schools as well and getting a different level done with them. So if anyone's had any ideas about that over the Christmas or anything like that, that'd be great. But otherwise, we'll just sort of make a start with the general update. So the candidates being put forward for the qualifications, to test them out and stuff, they're all in the process of getting, onboarded. I think, we've got information and sort of registration details from nearly everyone now. I think there is one or two outstanding. And I think, to be honest, we'll need to kind of draw a line on that one. I think we'll make that today. So if I'll send another email out just after this for anyone who we haven't got that information for, but I think it's time just to kind of draw that line, and we'll progress with who we have. But as I say, we've got most of them.
All right. Okay. Good. A few things going on. There we go. You're all right.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, so sorry, I've been just waiting for Rebecca to have a chat with you guys.
Alex, can I just put you on mute? Okay. Right. So I think so. Yeah, we'll get cracking with them, and so they're being dealt with with Gary at ProQual at the moment. They've been inducted. We've got them all assigned, got them their unique learning numbers and stuff and things like that. So hopefully we can see how they're all getting on a little bit by this time. Well, by the next meeting, really, because they should have all started it by then. Should have been able to get cracking with the questions and things.
I think Gary's actually had quite a lot of Zoom meetings with them on an individual basis. So quite a few of them have had their inductions, and they're starting the process of looking at the assessment and what they're going to need to be doing. So it's going quite well, at the moment for those that have come back. It's just, as you said, the stragglers that haven't got the information through. And if we're going to get them all through in a timely manner, I think you're right. We do need to have a line drawn to say,
yeah,
now you're going to miss this time round.
Yeah, we as I say, from our point of view, we set out, I think, to have 18, which is a bit of a random number, but that was our initial target. We're still surpassing that, so I think we're happy with the amount of people we have on there. So yeah, I think we'll draw a line in that one, and yeah, hopefully we can get a bit more of an update, from people individually who are undertaking them. Sort of in the next call, I'll speak to Gary and get any feedback and the initial feedback from him, so we can see how it's going and stuff. So in terms of moving forward with that, I'm currently working on a bit of a sort of a pricing strategy for it. So looking at kind of how we can roll this out in a larger scale once we've got these candidates going through and seeing what they think of it and things. So working on that with Gerard and Gary and Helen from ProQual as well. So looking at how long each candidate needs, and how long an assessor needs with each candidate and that sort of thing. So that's a bit of a work in progress. Again, it's another thing which we'll be able to discuss with you in a little bit more detail in the next session. And then from the technical point of view, we are currently getting the web page produced with the sort of workbook questions on. So I don't know if you remember last time we showed you, you've got this kind of this road that you can take through on the web page of answering questions and things. So we're getting that developed. That's going to sit in our Future of Construction website. So I think you've all got access to that. So we'll have a new kind of tab in that where you can go into it, and then all the candidates have got access to that website as well. There have been a few teething issues getting people on board. So if anyone comes to you and says, oh, I've not got access to it, an email goes out with the login details and the password, but it often gets caught in spam and things like that. And it's not the most kind of user-friendly email once it arrives at the site. So just let me know if someone's saying, oh, I haven't got access to it. We can sort that out, and I can get them, I can send them a proper email with all the details on. But it's just a bit of it's meant to be done automatically, but sometimes you've got to do a bit of longhand, which is a bit frustrating. So but yeah, they've all should be able to get onto it. The web page isn't there yet, so they won't be able to do the qualifications via that website yet. But that's, again, we're looking at getting done pretty soonish. Rachel, you've just appeared. So is there any update from our guys of when they'll be cracking on with that, or is that still in proposal stages at the moment?
It's still in proposal. We've just got the brief back of the costs, so I can send it across.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Just making sure I hadn't missed an update or something. So that's all fine. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been getting on with. As I say, it's mainly been enrollment for the candidates and getting them set up, which has all been a bit of a new experience for me personally. So it's far cry from my usual day job, which is absolutely fine. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some good results out of that. I think what would be interesting is, firstly, if anyone's had any updates or ideas over the past kind of couple of weeks, and then also if anyone's got any sort of thoughts on the additional qualifications for schools and trying to roll that out.
Hi, I had a thought. I engaged with a college last week, and one of the kind of key topics that they were talking around was the bridging of the gap between T levels and engagement of students before they get onto that T level, to keep their attainment level high for the college. So I'm working with a college anyway on supporting with the level 3 PCP that we run. But I also think that potentially there could be some support that we could give them about preparing for the work and the kind of experience of construction, with obviously the pro-qual exam and qualification. So I kept in touch with the guy and said, look, this is what I was doing, and at the appropriate time I'll share with him my learnings and my outcomes, because I think some of that could be helpful for them. And then potentially, I wasn't at the last meeting, that could be a kind of support that we could offer as a bridging gap between academia and sort of the world of work.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly the
qualifications, Karen.
Say again, Jan.
Are you looking at using one of the existing TFOC qualifications?
Yeah, I just thought, for instance, I'm doing the trial of the level 3 myself, just to see the experience of it. And I just said, look, at the appropriate time, when I can share any of my learnings, because obviously we've only just got the workbook at the moment, when I can, I'll keep in touch with this tutor who's the curriculum lead. And if there's certain things that they can weave into then their T levels, or as a kind of bridge between the two, that will help us all. And then obviously longer term, I can understand with how you're going to either market to your clients, or the bridging gap between the schools, if you're going to market it and kind of sell it, or what you're going to do with the kind of qualifications. But I think that learning could just be invaluable to them, to help them. So I've just said, look, over the journey, we'll keep in contact, and it can only help, obviously, Pagabo and all of us involved in it. Yeah. So I just thought that could be an idea, because there'll be different skills that ProQual will have to either Pearson's for the T level, or WJEC is the level 3 that we're doing. And if students can benefit from that whole story, I think it can be much more rounded.
So they go through almost like a package of learning, from looking at different aspects until they embark on their whatever it is that they're going to do for the future.
Yeah, and then it gives a better outcome for the college and or the school, and they get their attainment levels are higher because we've supported them in different ways. So I just think this pro-qual qualification could help us, that kind of bridge and supporting of them.
Right. Okay.
And, you know, I don't know how it's going to, obviously, I've only just got my own workbook this week and I've read through, and Gary was very supportive and did do the Zoom with me. But I was just thinking, as it evolves, I'm sure there'll be kind of learning of my own learning that I could then share with either the students or the college or others as it kind of goes, which will fit into their T-level as an existing way of learning.
Right. Would you do that, would you say, from an employer's perspective? So you would be the an employer rather than like a college or a training provider?
Well, yeah, however, I think it would be initially ISG. But for instance, I endorsed this morning that I was undertaking this personally, and that at the moment it's not appropriate to share. But when I do, and I can, I'll share with them some of the outcomes and told them the rationale behind the Pagabo framework and how we're a member and how we're looking to obviously all learn and collaborate together. So that endorses both of our organisations, I think. So we could do it as a joint way of doing it.
Yeah, I think when you all have been through your individual qualifications, when we do an evaluation at the end of it, it would be really good to have almost like everybody's viewpoints to put them all into a bag and then sort them out and come up with perhaps not so much marketing material, but information that could go out to places like colleges, that this is available in this kind of structure, and it's also flexible and would fit into several different areas of current packages you might already be delivering.
Exactly, and they might have to see how they get funding, because they obviously have a funding model, which is obviously the kind of, that's what they're going through at the moment, isn't it? Cleansing of different level 3 courses and how they introduce it to colleges. But that some of those are going to be staying and they need additional courses. So I'm sure we could do that afterwards in our evaluation.
Yeah, actually, I might be, well, I think we're okay at the moment for them, but the level 1, 2 and 3 of the TFOC qualifications, they're not, they're on the hub with the ESFA, but they haven't got funding attached to them. Very long story short, Pam and I have been working with the ESFA. They've had a moratorium from the 1st of September last year, and was still in that moratorium, and they're not automatically attaching funding to qualifications that us as the AOs, the awarding bodies, are developing and submitting. But there are certain exemptions where if you complete another set of paperwork there and submit it, they will review the qualifications and your rationale for requesting funding. And I believe that our level 1, 2 and 3, Pam and I have come up with the rationale, and we think that we are submitting them for funding. We'll be finalising the paperwork tomorrow, sending that off, and I'm hopeful that for those 3 levels, we will be successful in getting funding attached in March, April.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that will be key. That will be part of our marketing, because we had to then respond to the ESFA information about various courses that are remaining, which appertain to funding. Because if they turn off the tap to the colleges, then those courses then won't obviously remain on their agenda. So that's pretty key as part of that. So
yeah, what they're doing is the ESFA are looking at all the awarding bodies that have got qualifications that haven't been taken up. So they've got few or no registrations against them, and they're just wiping out the funding against it and veering it somewhere else. So I think we've got to really be, on our game here and make sure that we keep, once we get this funding attached, we need to keep the registrations on these particular qualifications going, so that we can keep that funding, because I don't know when this moratorium is going to end and what will happen at the end of it, whether they'll do another cleansing, and we don't want to lose them. So I think we all need to be a bit mindful of that.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we can, certainly from our side, we can really pull some good, marketing material together for it. Once we've got that info, we can have, the interviews of people who have undertaken them and stuff, and seeing what they got out of them. And I'm as we all are, quite confident that we're going to get some positive stuff out of it. So we can kind of pull together that package, and obviously we can then push it into our ecosystem, which is quite large. So we're hoping this will attract, a lot of people from a lot of the different people in our ecosystem, in our supply chain. So yeah, no, I think it's good. And then with the funding as well, if we work that into the financial model for it, then I think, you know, we can get a really attractive package in there, and keep on sort of, you know, pushing the kind of, you know, the future of construction vibe of it, and then, you know, sort of, you know, working towards creating a better workplace and everything like that, which I don't think that's a theme which is going to disappear anytime soon. So yeah, I think there's a lot of positivity for it, really.
I just wonder, Charlie, whether, and everybody really, whether it might be better that if anybody comes forward, for example, Karen, if there's anything that you particularly like along your journey, you could feed in and we can do some preparatory marketing, because I think if we wait until the end, we might lose a little bit of momentum about these qualifications. And if we could get something up there on your site, Charlie, to say that, right, this is launched and let's do a journey of all the people, the learners that are going through. We don't need to name them, but just an overall journey. Right, you know, this group have started on these new qualifications, and just do a little bit of a newsy thing, you know, every month or something, to say progressing well, so that by the time we come to the end, we've got a real positive feedback situation when everybody's achieved them, which they will.
Yeah, no, I think Rachel, I think I see you frantically taking notes there as our marketing guru. So no, I think that's a really good idea, and it's you know, we've got, you know, we've got the experience in house of how to deal with this sort of stuff, you know, to sort of, as you say, creating this journey and things and stuff like that, which I think is a really it's a really good idea, a really valid way of doing it. And yeah, if we can kind of build up to the sort of crescendo of having these, you know, 20 odd candidates who have finished, completed it, are significantly, you know, in a better place for it, etc., then yeah, we'll have got something which, you know, we can really push out then. And I think, yeah, I think talking to a lot of you guys on the side with this who have put candidates forward, there's already quite a lot of interest. You know, we have had to limit some companies in the amount of numbers they've put forward, so we know the interest is there. So yeah, I think again, it's, yeah, as you said, Jan, really building that story. So
yeah, definitely.
I mean, looking at the first qualification, it's not a big step, I don't think, to alter it for a school to go into it. There's a lot of, you know, a lot of the kind of answers which are required, kind of, you know, you talk to your manager and stuff and things like that, but a lot of it can be done with personal research. You don't have to have a line manager. You can talk to, you know, I think we discussed last time, even potentially sort of tying it in with you know, a week in industry and things, have been able to gather information that way. So, you know, using all of this to put it into a school, I think would be really handy as well. And if they can get their own qualification out of it, because I think Karen, it was the school from that ISG put forward, they were very keen on it, but it just wasn't quite right for them, which I think we do ideally want to, you know, make it right for them. I think there would be the interest there. So
yeah, I'm just conscious that the poor students, bless them, I was doing a mentoring session yesterday, they're just trying to survive, I would say, at the moment with their online learning, and we were running a virtual workshop yesterday. I just think they're trying to work out if they're doing exams or not doing exams, and obviously monitoring government press every day. So I think it's just the timing. I don't think it's because it doesn't fit, because I've spoken to the tutors about it, but yeah, just at the moment, I think it's tough.
No, it's a pretty it's a pretty desperate time, I think, for all involved at the moment. So it's a tricky kind of place to test things out and stuff. But I would keep on trying and stuff, and you know, making it digital first and things, pushing it forward. We're going to hopefully make it as accessible as possible. So
actually, if the schools could embark on it, it would be wonderful that they could actually achieve a qualification in these current times. And then if their exams aren't going to go forward, then they're still going to have a qualification certificate in something.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's certainly worth considering. We'd have to work quite quickly on that. But
the schools, you know, if the resources say, you know, discuss this with your line manager in your employment, what you would need to do is look at the qualification and contextualize the resources to fit a somebody still in education and replace, for example, the line manager with your teacher, or to contextualize the resources to make it appropriate for children still in school.
Yeah. I mean, we've not got the kind of qualification where it's like get out on site and show us how to lay a brick. It's, they're different skill sets which we're after. So no, I think I don't think TFOC one's very far from a school qualification at all, or a school level qualification. So I think that would be quite easy to do. It's just kind of, and then I think how we'd roll it out into the schools. And I kind of, it'd be the sort of, well, I'm not sure. I don't know enough about school education from that point of view of how it would fit into it. But obviously, we have quite a few people on the call who would know that. So that's something which we can work out.
The key thing is funding for schools.
I say, because if ESFA funding would be for the level 1, would it have to come under a completely separate qualification, or?
They don't fund schools. The ESFA don't fund schools.
Oh, right, okay.
They do colleges, but not schools.
Yeah, I wonder, would it fit into schools, do you think, as much, or would it be more of a college thing?
I don't know. Karen, were you referring to actual school children?
Yeah, both. I tried to put forward 2 schools for Charlie to then use some of the pupils as kind of a benchmark for a test. But it's just at the moment, because they're learning and trying to borrow resources from the schools, it just wasn't appropriate at the moment. But it overlays and overlaps almost verbatim with the level 3 course that they're doing already, those students with WJEC. So the level, I would say, is almost the same. So I don't think it's the level. And as you say, you just change the terminology. Liaise with your manager is liaise with your tutor, or go and do some online research. I don't think it's the level. Obviously, just they've come back at the moment. It's just the timing of it this year. But I think we could easily do that. And it's about attainment and predicted grades. So to introduce a new course, they have to go through and put it through their governors to introduce a new course. Then they have to apply to the awarding body to then put it on their curriculum, and they do that a year in advance.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what I had to do with WJEC. They put forward a business case. I had to present to their director team. Then they took that on board, and then it got introduced a year later. Because it's all about.
That's right. Nothing moves quickly in schools.
Yeah. But that's why I think we could take the principles of the course and be able to support them. So there's more than one way that we could definitely support and help the students.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the key thing to try and get out of this is obviously to get more people from schools interested in getting into the construction industry. And I think, these qualifications do lend themselves so well to that, because they offer, the kind of breadth of experience which they could potentially have in the industry, rather than just know you're going to be on site making cement for 30 years and that's all you're going to be able to do. So I think it could be invaluable to get it there. What I can do is I can start looking at that initial qualification and start playing around with it and altering it slightly, and seeing how easy it would be to do, and then we can have a look at that in the next session, certainly.
I think when I actually was at school, you had different pathways when you got to kind of your further education, so what GCSEs you were doing. And I think if you wanted to go down into the construction route, you either went to Bishop Burton College or somewhere for a day and did learning how to bricklay. So I think this would be quite valuable at that point of people's education.
Okay.
Especially, well, now I don't know if it's going to be the same next year if it takes a year to actually go into it, but if they can't actually go to, say, the colleges to learn them skills, this would actually give them the opportunity to have a door step into construction.
Yeah. I don't know what a college like that would be doing at the moment, if it's more of a kind of on-site learning.
Yeah, schools and colleges obviously are running construction faculties, Rachel, but and also we liaise with like their mentoring team, and they have their careers team, and when they take their selections, often they run these alongside their various level 2s or their A levels, so we can capture them then. And obviously it's about changing mindset, that construction is available for all, and it's not just on site or bricklaying. There's so many different routes to take, and you know, they've got their careers team, so we could catch it again there. But it's, you know, it's a fantastic career for many. For doesn't matter your background or your diversity, it's a great career.
Yeah, and I think it's pushing that inclusivity again, isn't it? So it's, you know, as I say, it's for everyone. It's no longer just the man's world. So. All right. So, does anyone have any further thoughts on that then?
Hi, Charlie. It's Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Listen to the discussion. To be fair, some of the notes I've made for the start of this was whether there was an information pack or some kind of capability statement for engagement with schools and colleges. So actually, the discussion was really interesting. Because where we're working with schools and the like, you know, as part of our social value policy, we're trying to put something back. But I guess it's how we do that. You know, we engage with schools anyway. But it's how we do that, and is there a place for this qualification in that journey? And that's where I was trying to again link. You know, how would we engage with the school? How would we promote it? How would we you know, to get them to see the value of it? Is there any blockers or any rules? I don't understand it well enough to answer some of these things, and no doubt other people on the call maybe understand it a lot better than me. But obviously, where we're doing that, you know, some of the schools do have construction specialisms, and I didn't know whether you know, whether actually introducing, you know, Pagabo to say a school like that, so you can talk to them direct about how it would work, is an easier way to get things moving than for us to act as kind of an intermediary and not really understand the process.
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid point, and it's, you know, I'll level with you, Sean. I'm in the same boat as you, where I don't understand a lot of the politics behind it and things, and you know what the blockers would be. So you're certainly not alone in that. But I completely agree with what you're saying. I think, you know, if you have that relationship with the school already, then, you know, the two-pronged attack, maybe getting the information across, the introduction, that sort of thing, I think that could work quite nicely. But again, you know, I think it does come down to the funding, and sort of, yeah, I think, you know, changing that and that qualification slightly so that it is more applicable to a school or college rather than at a workplace, which, as I said earlier, I think that would be an easy fix. But yeah, I think we do need to work out certainly a strategy for doing it first, I think. So
Okay.
Good. Okay. Well, if that's it from everyone, I think there's, you know, we've got. I'll as I said, I'll certainly go away and have a little think about that first qualification and see what can be done with it. As I say, I'm looking at it as I have done quite a bit over the past couple of months. I don't think it's actually going to be a very big job, so that shouldn't be a problem. So we'll have something ready for that in the next session. As I said, I will get in touch with Gary to sort of give me some updates on how people are getting on, how people are finding the unrolling process, you know, the initial chats with Gary and things and stuff like that. He knows that he's there kind of as their first point of contact now, and that he needs to be kind of, you know, asking the questions, you know, is there criticism, that sort of stuff, how's it, you know, all that kind of thing. So I'll ask him and see how that's getting on. But yeah, apart from that, I think we'll just continue with the sort of the website and on the side, and which we'll hopefully have a bit more to show you for the next session. And yeah, I'm sure Gerard will be back available as well then. So if that's it from everyone, thank you very much for your attendance.
Okay.
Good little chat about the schools there, and got a few actions out of it. I think we've got some stuff to think about. So yeah, it's really good.
Okay, see you then.
Okay.
Thanks, Charlie.
Cheers.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Cheers
Charlie.
all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.